Well, hello everyone, and we certainly do appreciate you coming in here tonight for our program Red Pill by the Watchtower. Well, we got former Jehovah's Witness Eric. Well, he's formerly from Rhode Island, but he's down there in Memphis, Tennessee, or Nashville, I believe he's at. So he's coming in tonight. He's going to be talking about all of the corruption, the scandals that go on behind the Watchtower curtain. So let's bring Eric on right now and say hello to him. Oh, hello, Eric.
Hello, how are you and how is everyone?
Well, everyone's doing good. I can see that we got a good night of activity. We've got a lot of people still coming into the Six Screens Telenetwork here tonight. So it's good, Eric. So more and more people are leaving the Watchtower and finding that they're in a good community here because most of the people here have either left the Watchtower or they're giving some serious thought to doing so. So I'm going to duck out. You got the program. I'm here if you need me.
Alrighty. Well, thank you. And it was great to see Deborah Hines on tonight, and uh, I thank her for being brave, and for Barbara Anderson doing the interview. Really, really well done, and thank you for everybody who puts up their puts up a fight, or at least exposes truth to the Watchtower. And anyways, I thought I'd talk about tonight's topic. We'll talk about Watchtower and how greedy they are. And there's some points that I wanted to make, but before I did that, I was going to start off the show by reading something, and if you just bear with me here, I'm going to go to JW Library. And I'm going to read the text for yesterday, Friday, because it's just so screwed up. And I think it's worth bringing up just to, and bear with me. I know their writing is awful. But anyways, Friday, June 23rd, we got Acts 16:4. They would deliver the decrees that had been decided on by the apostles. Jehovah always does what is right. The challenge for us, however, might be to trust in his human representative. Interesting, it says challenge. We might wonder whether those with a measure of authority in Jehovah's organization really act according to Jehovah's direction of their own. The plain truth is that we cannot say that we trust in Jehovah if we do not trust.
Wow, we're not sure what happened there, Eric. It looks like he's frozen up there. Eric, I'm not sure what happened there, but it looks like you are frozen up on our screen here. So why don't you try to reboot it to do something?
Is that, did it come back on?
Oh, we're back on now. Yep.
All right, I guess I'm not able to read the text. And was it out audio as well?
Actually, we just got a picture of it was your hand, I guess, in front of the screen. But do you want to try it again? Go ahead and give it another try.
Well, I think you'll lose video while I talk through it.
Well, that's okay. We'll go ahead and talk through it. We can lose some video.
Okay. Okay, sorry. So I'll just start over. It says Jehovah always does what is right. The challenge for us, however, might be to trust in his human representatives. We might wonder whether those with a measure of authority in Jehovah's organization really act according to Jehovah's direction of their own. The plain truth is that we cannot say that we trust in Jehovah if we do not trust in his earthly representatives, those whom Jehovah trusts. Today, Jehovah leads the earthly part of his organization by means of the faithful and the faithful. Like the first century governing body, this slave oversees God's people worldwide and gives direction to congregation elders. The elders, in turn, implement the direction in the congregations. We show that we trust in Jehovah's way of doing things by heeding the direction we receive from the organization and the elders. But when I read that text, I was deeply disturbed by the amount of control and the amount of twisting of the scriptures. What did that scripture that I read even have anything to do with what we're talking about? Where did it say trust in the earthly organization? Where did it say trust in the elders? Where did it say that this even is Jehovah's organization? Because the Bible doesn't even talk about an organization. It talks about a group of people that would be disciples of Christ. And I can't believe the amount of control and the amount of doubling down that they're doing. It really seems evil. They want to control every aspect of your life, and they're so insecure about themselves, the governing body, that they have to have trust us no matter what. It's like they're always convincing themselves, or the rank and file as well, but they're always convincing themselves, it seems like, that they're God's channel or faithful in this great slave. These thinking guys have really assumed so much, and it's made them demonic, in my opinion. They're not acting right, and that's why I was going to talk about greed tonight. Greed within the organization. And I've got a few things that I was going to speak about that I wrote down at some point. One of them was watching Wally's video of prevention, and they have like a scenario, I guess a fictional story, but like what would happen or what if. And there is a situation where there is some brothers and sisters who are, I'll just make it short, who end up being refugees, right? And they abandoned everything and lost everything, and they have nothing. And at this refugee camp, somebody constructed a little box and painted the logo of the donation hand, the donation hand with the coin, and to a refugee camp. How low can these guys possibly go to do something like that? That's really, and that's why I'm talking about greed tonight, because that is a level of greed that is just ridiculous. These people have nothing. We should be, if anything, the governing body should be seeing the need, what kind of health care or health care, but what kind of food or resources or anything, a shelter, something. Why are billionaires wanting money from a refugee camp? You've got to be kidding me. And it struck me so hard why I wanted to upgrade. And then it gets worse. Then there's another scenario where...
Hey, Eric, I'm just going to step in here for a second. I want you to come closer, or put your tab a little closer to your phone, maybe, so we can hear you a little bit better. So that
sorry if I'm so close, but can you hear me better?
Oh, yeah, better now, yep.
Okay. My bad, everyone, if you couldn't hear me. Sometimes I got to raise my voice a little bit, too. I can mumble. Anyways, I'm trying to figure out what I was talking about. Sorry. Besides the refugees, it gets worse. They ended up having a story about a girl, and this is supposed to be a real story, I believe. And this girl was in Mexico, maybe, or one of the countries that has pesos, and she had some hundreds of pesos that was given to her by her family because she was really sick. I don't remember with what. It was around COVID, but the girl was in the hospital for a long time, and she broke her piggy bank and wanted to donate it to Watchtower, and she did. And it was about $14 USA, American, worth, from this poor girl who is like possibly on her deathbed. I mean, how low do you really freaking get to like, I'm like, okay, I get it that the girl donated it herself, but like, wouldn't an adult say, oh, that's so sweet of you, you keep this, you need this more than we do. Isn't that the right thing to do? Instead, they're like, look, we'll take your dying kids' donations that the family all. I just can't. I don't understand that level of greed, that level of lack of empathy, lack of sympathy, lack of everything. How can these people do something like this? How can they not see themselves that, like, okay, maybe this isn't a good story to tell? I mean, they're just giving us the material, and then it's apostate lies. I mean, if we say it back to them, that's another way I thought that they were pretty greedy, or then even in the organization, you start to wonder the spirit of the governing body, which have a lot of bad qualities, but we're focusing on greed tonight. You mean to tell me that that doesn't spread to the congregation? All of the qualities they do, all of their shunning, the way they shun, the way they treat people who don't agree with them, all of those bad qualities are all being poured out into the public. And, it's not making the people better. It is making them greedier. And I mean, the presiding overseer, I guess, would be now the Kobe, right? Am I saying that right? Coordinator, the elders, something like that. Coordinator body of the elders, whatever it is. The guy that I knew, he was invested in the stock market, and it was known that he lost 350 grand in the stock market, and in fact, he named his dog NASDAQ because that's the stock that he lost. And this guy is telling people what to do with with their lives and stuff. And I don't have a problem with you playing the stock market, but if you're going to preach things and not to gamble and not to do this, and I mean, they all need to just stay out of everybody's life because everybody's imperfect. And I don't care that the guy went through the stock market, really, but I do care that he's just kind of being. And there's actually a lot of elders that are in the stock market, and even the Watchtower organization. I was talking to Rick, telling me how that's probably. I don't want to take it to the bank, but it could be a good reason why they need money because they took a big hit through COVID when the stocks started changing. Who knows what they're invested in? Hopefully not Disney or Bud Light. But the greed is just astronomical in this organization. One of the last talks that Tony Morris gave that won't be to the general public, he talked about being wrapped in smoke. It's an actually old but recycled talk that I heard in 2012, maybe. It's a pretty old talk that he gave already. It's interesting what he might have been talking about specifically. These guys are wrapped in smoke. They are, absolutely. They can't see themselves. I guess that's why they think it's okay to accept a little kid's money. That's sick. I mean, they really can't see themselves. And the organization, I feel like they're greedy. Even the people in it. I know there are good people, and I'm not saying all of them. It's just that they're selfish with their time. They're so burned out from Watchtower, from having to go out in service, from having to go to the meetings, from having to give everything to them, really. And you never get anything back in return. And if you screw up, you're out. And that's another part of the greed that I was thinking too. Then we got the disrespectful act of Tony Morris telling us, all of them telling us not to live lavish lifestyles and stuff. And we got Tony Morris drinking some of the best booze, right? I mean, I think it was around $80 a bottle for that Macallan. You've got what's his name, Stephen Lett, telling us not to make the most of this world. Meanwhile, it's seeming to come out that he's a millionaire from all the property that he owns, business property that he split with his brother. I forget his brother. He's a Lett. And it's just supposedly Dick Lorgy, and I believe him at this point, and says once the guy drives, they're basically saying F you to us, telling us how to live so that they don't have to live in poverty and they can live and have power and control over all of us. And that's some things I came up with, and I'll open up to the audience if anybody had any questions or anybody had anything they wanted to say. But if not, I got a few more points that I can talk about. Also, going back to the level of greed in the organization. What do I have here? Gaelic Glockington? I don't know how to say his name, but think you all remember if you saw the video. The guy with the accent, and he says that we can be friends of Jesus and Jehovah if we donate, if we are giving in spirit. And that is something that we have never heard, say, growing up and all the way to maybe 80s, 90s, early 2000s. But boy, did it change. Boy, did it totally drastically change. Not for the better. They keep wanting more and more money, and it's just Stephen Letts saying that they have more going out than is coming in. What in the tarnation is going on? Even Rick talked about it on the show a little bit about that, which I didn't know they did, the conditional donation. I mean, that's another level of greed. And you know what? I almost knew that when he was going to tell the story, that they weren't, somehow somebody got screwed and didn't get their money back when they wanted it. I mean, these guys, what level are they willing to stoop down to get money and power? I mean, it's pretty sad. You know, that woman who died and who wanted her son to have that money, that might have been covering funeral expenses. You know, the minimum was $5,000. That would cover a cheap funeral, maybe. I don't know. I don't really have much, but at least help towards the bill. I mean, how low can these guys go? They literally kick you when you're down. There's just no giving spirit. It's always just, what can you do for us? And they even had that little cartoon that they had, and they literally say, if you did it for, how does it go? If you did it for them, you did it, or if you did it for us, you did it for them, or something like that. They're trying to spin the scriptures, basically, of saying whatever you did for Watchtower, you did for Jesus, which isn't true at all. I can't see Jesus giving a crap about you cleaning the Kingdom Hall on your own dime. What for a cult organization that hurts children? I mean, I think it's unfortunate that people are sacrificing things in this organization, and God might not appreciate that sacrifice down the road, you know. But I feel so sad of the state of the organization and where it's gone. It's gone to a really bad place. It's gone to a place where if you don't get out, it will completely ruin your mind. And unfortunately, Desiree and I, we're never going to get our families back. Like Rick said about the sunk cost fallacy, that is exactly what they're going to. They're just too invested for it. It's gonna take Watchtower to burn down to the ground for them to maybe wake up. And they still might have to. Who knows what's going to happen? But I think there are some people that are older and they don't have as much of a critical thinking mind, which is why I like the name of the show, Red Pill from Watchtower. And they don't have that critical thinking mind, and it's really important to have it. And it's sad that people like us that do have the critical thinking mind, we're being punished for having it. You know? And it is greed, because all of this is unnecessary. And you know what? What is the common expression? Penny wise, dollar foolish. If Jehovah's Witnesses were smart and just backed off child two witness rule in the shunning of them, maybe get out of the blood doctrine too, they actually would get more money and people would respect them more if they had better policies. But because of their greed, like Rick said, he has a sign that flashes in the background of the show. And I think it says something about what Watchtower is. What is Watchtower is? Yeah, I can't remember now. Sorry, I'm trying to think. Something about that. It's a religion in disguise, or it's a corporation business in the disguise of religion, something like that. And it's so true. It's exactly what it is. It really is. I mean, hell, Norway, they don't even see them as religion anymore. So what does that tell you? But is there somebody there? I hear a little noise. Is there someone?
Yeah, my concern, I want to piggyback on what Dan and Angela mentioned tonight and what you had mentioned about that film and the people going to a camp. Now, I don't need to bring up 70 years ago in Europe and what that was about. We all know that there were camps involved there. But anytime there's a refugee camp, that's not the first place that people want to go. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they were using a kind of repetitious hypnosis to try to convince their people that this camp thing was an idea. And I think Dan felt that he was hearing and seeing that. Did I get that right?
I didn't see all of Dan's show. I was in between cooking a little bit.
Okay. Well, he was mentioning
I brought something up that he already did, but
about the refugees that had the at the end they wanted money.
Yeah, that's what I saw from it. They had a makeshift donation box with the hand with the coin.
Right. But let's look at the real world. If you were in Europe today, about a year ago, and war broke out, they were saying, hey, if you have any money, you can take a taxi to Italy. It might cost you hundreds of dollars, but this would be the little road you'd want to take. Just like Jesus said, the road is narrow and few find it. When a person has to leave a disaster, you don't go where the whole crowd is going, and you certainly wouldn't go to a camp. That's the only point I wanted to make, that looked very, very wrong to me.
So you're saying it wasn't realistic, the scenario at all either, right?
No, it wasn't, but it was also trying to convince people to do something that would be against their own interest. You know how they've been saying, well, whatever we say, obey us, right?
Yep.
They've had that line,
Even if it doesn't make logical sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Yes, even if it doesn't make sense. And so I think they were really bamboozling their audience with a kind of hypnotism trick. And this worries me. And that's all I wanted to say about that. And that if you ever have to evacuate, you're probably better off to go to where some family member is or something away from where the crowd would be.
I have to agree with you, Pixie. I really do think they are definitely hypnotizing us. It feels like the witnesses are in a trance these days, like a hard one, like a trance that I've seen at rock concerts, or certain concerts where a certain song might have a drum beat. I've talked about it on the show before, Fleetwood Mac. The song Tusk, that's a hypnosis song.
Yes, wonderful song. Yes, powerful song.
But it gets people
into was that they should obey. And I did some research this week, and I don't want to do it next week. I went back and looked at videos of other culty groups, and it was painful for me to spend that time. And I found out something interesting. You know, the little child song, Listen, Obey, and Be Blessed. Someone was mentioning the Benedictines that have done a fine job of educating young men in Catholic schools, and their slogan is listen and obey. So none of this is new.
No. I agree. They even they have a clothing line that says, it doesn't say listen, but it says obey. It's a clothing line, and it is a subliminal. It's a subliminal message as well, like obey whatever government. Who knows? Be a good sheep, a good sheeple.
Yeah. So that message was really kind of a twisted one, and I think this coming week I'm going to work on some of my own projects. But I just wanted to chime in on that and say hello to everyone, and have a good night.
Well, thanks, Pixie. You too, and it's always good hearing from you for sure. Thank you.
Bye.
Was there someone else that wanted to talk?
Yeah, I was going to say that point that Pixie brought out about the camps that we knew about back in Europe a long time ago. That's kind of daunting thinking about that, and the way that they were talking about in that film to go to the camp. These people back in Europe, they just grabbed. They had a bag that they had to grab real quick and go, and they were being taken to a camp. only they were going to be relieved of all their possessions at that camp. And I remember earlier Angela was talking about that when everybody with the film, that when everybody got there, they were all being handed out the same things: their own soap and their bed sheets and towels and linens, you know. And I don't know, it just seems kind of scary. I'm just the thought of, I mean, all these people that are the witnesses that were going to this camp. I don't know. It's all in my head, swimming around. You know, I've been bothered by it ever since I saw Angela's the video they sent me about the things that were going on at that convention. But honestly, the other thing I thought of were the people that went willingly to Guyana, and then they all lost their life too. And the witnesses always had a joke around all the time about, are you going to drink the Kool-Aid? You know, and, you know, the way things are going in the world now, the idea of even possibly a mass suicide or something. I don't even want to say that, but, you know, I don't know, the way things are so horrible in this world right now. And, you know what? I'm just making everybody depressed listening to me. Never mind. I've just had a bad day. But
No, you're good.
What?
I said, no, you're good. You made some really good points.
Well, I can't seem to complete a sentence or a thought with words. I just can see it in my head, but it won't come out of my mouth. I can't get the words to match up with my brain today. But I did appreciate what Fixie said. That was when she said that about the camps in Europe. That really, I was like, oh wow, I hadn't even thought of that. You know, but you know, nowadays the kids are not even taught about what happened with Hitler. But those of us that have been around a while, that had actual history, and we've seen it on videos and things like that, that stuff wasn't made up. That really happened. And there's also another movie about the guy, Manier, or what was his name? Not the doctor, but the guy that had all the people, he was rescuing them by making pots and pans and things like that, and bullets and stuff for the SS and their army. I can't think of the man's name, but I watched a video about it. But I've been watching things like Pixie was saying, films about different cults that end in tragedy. And usually if it's a cult, that is what happens.
Yeah, for sure. And
yeah, Eric.
Yeah.
Hi, Eric. Yeah, it's Tim from Australia. I just got a couple of things to add to that whole camp thing. I as much as I know that they're kind of brainwashing people and telling them to obey everything, I don't think it's probably that dark. It's just more it ties into what you were talking about, their greed. Like they wouldn't want to provide so basically they're kind of getting the fear factor up there. Like, you know, we're in the time of the end, stuff could happen. Where they would want people to go is to a refugee camp, which is run by the UN generally, because like witnesses are right in UN's pocket, but also because the UN has provisions at those places. Charities have. Watchtower wouldn't have to pay a cent, and the witnesses would get stuff. So, you know, that they don't want to help if there's any disaster. They just want to, they'd be like, oh, we're doing the right thing, organising some people to a refugee camp. I mean, for God's sake, that happens without their direction in true cases of war. It's not like they have to tell people, these things happen kind of organically. But they are that greedy. They, if there's a natural disaster or a war like with Ukraine, they don't. they don't donate out of their pockets. It's either local brothers or it's, they literally redistribute the government or, NGO, UN, whatever, food and stuff like that. So that's just my thoughts with the camp. But they are getting that stupid thing into people's heads to obey us no matter what. And, they'd love for some bad stuff to go down and, something to happen. And because people obeyed, suddenly Watchtower looks like they gave out this outstanding advice when really a lot of it's just common sense. But, if you're in that organisation still, I don't think you've got a lot of common sense. So there's that. And there's a few other things I wanted to say about their greed, but I'll get on to that later. I'll let someone else talk.
Oh, sure. Thanks a lot, Tim. Always appreciate hearing your comments. And yeah, you're right. You're right. They are definitely stooping low, and they're definitely doing things that just don't smell right. The smell test ain't coming out. Does anyone else have a comment? You're with us if you want to. If you have any thoughts on what's going on with Watchtower with their greed.
I'll say one more thing, I guess.
I've
got to go. Just. What's this thing?
You there, buddy?
Eric? Eric?
Well, you there?
Eric, this is Dick Borgie.
Oh, hey, Dick. You're on with.
Hey, how are you?
I'm okay, man. How you doing?
I'm enjoying your program.
Cool.
I'm enjoying your program. I'm doing just fine. About their greed, which is absolutely unbelievable. There's a scripture that says, about people that the showy displays of one's means of life, and that's, unchristian and so forth. And you had governing body members driving around in Bentleys, $500,000 car. So where did they get that money from? Well, when they're questioned, they say, well, somebody donated it. Well, it must have been a Jehovah's Witness, because they don't have any dealings with people that are not Jehovah's Witnesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
That money came from little piggy banks, and it ended up with the governing body. They all have airplanes, and they all live in beautiful homes on the other side of the Hudson. It's a cigarette, but they have them, and they travel first class no matter where they go.
I have heard that.
They're just it's such a corrupt organization. Years ago, they said the Watchtower needs some money. So if you brothers can loan, emphasis on the word loan us some money. If you need it back, we'll give it to you. Well, we can trust the Watchtower, right?
Right.
No, you can't. Because if you try to get the money back, they wrote you a letter saying, well, you should have come to cost before you gave us the money. They weren't asking for donations. They were asking for loans. They turned the word loan into donations. And some people got their money back, but they had to fight for it.
The crooks.
That's the Watchtower. I mean, they just build Kingdom. They have Kingdom Halls built, one in, let's say, New Hampshire, and then they turn around and sell two others in New Hampshire, and then, want the brothers to donate for another building of a Kingdom Hall. Well, they sell two of them off and put the money in their pocket. And they're always talking about the worldwide witnessing work. That's where the money goes. Worldwide witnessing work. That's a lie. It does not go to that. If you think about it, what kind of money is spent for the worldwide witnessing work? They're not paying pioneers. They're not paying gas. They even have you, buying Watchtowers off of them and out of your own pocket, and any money you get at the door, they want that too. They are unbelievably greedy, and they don't care who they take the money from. Someone alluded to the fact that they would take $14 from a dying girl. Sure, they've done that for years. They are totally corrupt, and they're greedy as all heck. Thank you, Eric. Enjoying your show.
Oh, great. Always good to have you on, Dick. Thanks for coming on, man. Great points, dude. I mean,
Come in.
yeah, who's talking? Go ahead. You're on with us.
Hi, it's Kim. I've talked to you once before, at least online. And I hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling well and not having to go back, to have any treatment or anything.
I'm doing okay right now.
I enjoy your show. Pardon me? You're doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you. It's sweet of you to ask.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad you are. I was going to call last time too, but I always get chicken a little bit. But one thing I wanted to add to kind of what Dick Borgie said, who's near me somewhat. I'm only probably an hour away. But anyway, one thing that woke me up, because we always were told, donate for the worldwide work and the ones that have more, it helps the nations that don't have enough. Like in Africa, they didn't have a lot of money, so some that do have more money, the money's going to cover it or whatever, So we always thought that it would help, even though we might be, like myself, broke all the time. Still, it's like we're fortunate still and give to that. But one time I was watching one of the videos on jw.org when I was still going or trying again, let's just say, and it was about it was showing in Africa what they were doing, for building the kingdom halls. And they were literally making them out of pretty much nothing. And they were making their own bricks from the dirt and the ground, the ceramic or the clay from the ground. They were making it into bricks. And then, I'm sure they got some help with some like electronics or something. But what really woke me up is how much they did themselves. And they didn't have a lot of windows, or I think they were more open air, but they were still very nice looking, but maybe didn't have all the conveniences like air conditioning and all that. So they might have had to make it a little more open, but still it's like, wait, they still made it themselves. So what are we paying for? And then I also noticed in some of the newer ones, all the people or the brothers or in the congregation, they had donation boxes. And also, if you look at the video that the drama that they're playing now, some have covered parts of it, so I've seen some of it, which is actually very scary, kind of like what Pixie was saying. It is freaking me out a lot. And they even had a drawn picture of a hand dropping money into a box. So even when you're in a camp like that, you're supposed to donate. Come on. And then they say they're not political, but yet I noticed a recurring thing that's very odd to me. Well, I noticed a lot of people are wearing, not just for Ukraine, but the blue and yellow, which if you look into that could mean, crown colors, and it could have something political involved. And I noticed they keep putting those colors, including one brother that's holding up a thing like JW, so come to this camp, or whatever. He's wearing the blue and yellow. Nobody wears colors like that. A yellow pants and a blue shirt, and just everything was blue and yellow, blue and yellow. So it was kind of, to me, it was sort of like saying some kind of political statement, which I thought they weren't political. Plus, it was begging for money, even in a camp like that when they're at their lowest. It was just very culty too, but it did freak me out a lot. I just kept thinking of, it just seemed very. I did watch actually something on what happened in Jonestown after that I watch different specials on YouTube. And so anyway, I don't know if you could hear me. I hope I didn't interrupt you, but I just wanted to share
I'm
that.
listening.
It might seem weird just mentioning the yellow and the blue, but there is something, if you notice, they're wearing ties that are these colors seems like ever since 2019. I noticed that in the purple. And I mean, if it isn't anything, I mean, just, I wonder if you'll look and see if you notice it and what you might think of it, because I just think it's.
I don't know about the yellow. I don't know about the yellow, but I have noticed that the color blue that Watchtower uses is like kind of like the Freemason color that they use.
Yep. Uh-huh. Yep.
And I'm not. I would have to do the research about the yellow part or what the significance is for me to understand it. But
I mean, also look at Tutankhamun. He's wearing blue and blue, gold and purple, or blue and purple. It's a certain blue. It could be either way. It could be purple to blue. It's a kind of like a royal color. So I noticed that a lot in even Hollywood. In, you know, just even in media. If you look at a lot of the media that's been playing, you notice they're all wearing these colors. What the heck, you know? So they're saying something. I just don't know exactly what yet. But
yeah, you know, it's probably a good reason why the governing body have announced that they don't want us really to, or their rank and file, they strongly suggest them not to get involved with conspiracy theories. And why is that? Well, Watchtower giant conspiracy.
Yeah.
If you they say there's something when they're not. So if you break it down, they're liars. And of course, there's a conspiracy behind it, but it's not a conspiracy theory. A lot of it is conspiracy fact. And they're scared of us, and they don't want that critical thinking.
Yeah. And I do think they might be saying something to each other or something. I kind of have my suspicions what it means, but I don't know. Anyway, I have Googled a little bit about the coloring, what it could mean, you know, and stuff like that. But just the fact, I mean, I did notice like every frame, it's like they had to put the colors when someone moved out of the frame of those colors, then someone else moved in with those colors. But recurring, there was a little bit of red here and there or something, but it was just so much. It was a little over the top. And it's in Africa where, I mean, maybe they like those colors, but it just seemed odd. Like, really? I never noticed before. And I draw portraits and things, and I've drawn different cultural stuff, and I've never noticed that combination that much in one place, you know. But maybe that country where they are, maybe those are their colors. I don't know. But aren't they not political, you know? So I just noticed a lot of weirdness in that, but it was very freaky, and it kind of I was from the 60s, so I mean, we dealt with the Malawi stuff they always talked about on Thursdays and different times, so I had a lot of nightmares growing up. And it would be like you're in the field hiding, and everyone's like, shh, don't say anything. Something's going to happen. You know, if you make a noise, they'll get us, you know. So I used to dream that kind of stuff because of what we read in this. And I feel really sorry for all the little kids right now. And I have a mom that's, you know, in the next room that's also one. And I notice her being under a lot of stress. And can I add one more thing? I have a son who has been like fading or something, but not quite, just like back and forth, going and not going. And well, he just wrote me a letter the other day, like, Mom, this is happening. It's like near the end. Please come back, you know, and all this, but really, really cryptic, like they're freaking them out. I'm not kidding. So I am very concerned. And yeah, I don't know what it means yet, but he was really cryptic, like they said something very weird. And it kind of goes with some of what Dan and Angela were saying they noticed in their videos too. So I don't know. And my mom actually woke up screaming one night. I think it has to do with what she's been hearing, but she won't tell me. she's like, I have to live here, and so she's put up with me so far. But she's kind of semi-shunning me in a way, and but I see a toll on her, and I can't, like, when I told her anything, she I think she knows, but yet, and I'm worried. I actually think it might actually come to their harm. I don't know, but it just is. They're getting more. They're saying weird stuff. Let's just say, I have heard it a little when the CO came in the talk. I could hear it from my room, and it just seems like they're prepping them for something really weird. And so all of it is, what is it all for? Like, they're putting the Josiah talk where they talk about doing something that's not right, in which they should not have played in front of children, and then they're telling them over and over to be ready to obey something that doesn't seem human or normal in a human standpoint, which would be immoral, So what are they getting them ready for? That's what I'm a little concerned about.
It's pretty scary, isn't it?
So much. Just been kind of wanting to talk to somebody about it. It concerns me.
It's kind of scary, isn't it? Because I was it you or Debbie that mentioned that the Kool-Aid thing, that's a possible situation, and we didn't know.
Yeah, and that she did, but I kind of added to it. My fears that
That's why
it might actually be something like that. I watched.
It's scary. We don't want any of our family members or friends to really get hurt, even if they are shunning us, because I think we rise above their love. Our love is stronger than their love because it's not conditional.
Yep. Yep. Our love won't maybe make someone commit suicide. Their lack of can.
You know what? Watchtower doesn't care if people commit suicide, really, because look at the witnesses. I mean, when I was a witness, it drove me to that point, and I had little kids, and I was just ready for it to be over. There was so much trauma associated with it, and I was just. I said a minute ago that I can't connect my brain with my mouth, so I stopped again. I really appreciate what you said a minute ago. I just can't think of what it was. I know how it made me feel, but I don't know exactly what you said. But it was a good point.
Was it me, you mean, Debbie?
What?
Was it me or was it Eric?
No, it was you. You.
Oh.
Eric says good stuff too, but what I was talking about was something you said a minute ago, and it brought up another thought in my head.
Oh.
But it's fleeting.
The Jonestown thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you were talking about the blue and yellow color.
Oh, yeah, okay. That, yeah.
Color flag of Ukraine.
Well, no, but I think it's even more than that. I kind of think with the royal colors, And also, if you look at the flag of Ukraine, look at the symbol on it. What does that mean? I won't say it on here, but if you look at it when you're alone, Googling it, you might want to see what that thing is, and that's what I think it's about. Which you might.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to go into more to it.
I don't either.
Seems like there's something going on, and I think they're going along with it because they say everything the other ones are saying. They're like kind of mouthpieces, I feel like they are being mouthpieces of other agencies or something, and they aren't worried about everyone, and what the outcome is. And I actually try to talk a little with my mom, and she is older, but I feel like what they might do might be actually bad for them. And I am concerned. So I feel like I should bring up a few things carefully to her And I think she's seeing it, but she's just kind of talking very culty back, like, "Oh, I don't care. I do whatever they tell me." And I'm like, "If they told you to jump off a bridge, would you?" "Yeah, but they wouldn't tell me," she says. And I go, "Really?" Like, but it's scary because I see her know when something's wrong. And oh yeah, I'd seen something that they have they have some people they've used for quotes and things that aren't just Christians, that they could say false Christians, right? It's something worse, that would be, a bad thing. I won't say that either on there, but, with starting with the S or D. And they've quoted some characters, let's just say, that are questionable, very, very questionable. And it's worse than being some false Christian. And my mom was making excuses as if that's worse, like that it's not a real Christian. It would be false one, like Babylon or whatever, the great, you know what I mean? Like how stereotypically JW way. But the thing that I was showing her was much worse than any false something. This was something totally the other way, and she was making excuses. So it's just kind of weird. They're all being kind of numbed down so they don't notice anything, and they just turn off, kind of when you say anything that makes sense. And like the critical thinking is off. So yeah, I barely mention things to her, but it's hard because some things it's getting a little worrisome. Like she herself, I see her having it seems like nightmares, because she's actually, I woke up and she's like, "Yeah, I was on the floor." She's like rolled off or something. I'm like, "What, are you kidding me?" And she's, "No, really, I think I just, on sitting there, somehow ended up there." But she must be wrestling in bed or something. But one night it was screaming, and I thought she was going to be killed or something. And I could barely wake her up. And when I did, everything was fine. But she had just had like meeting and something the night before, I mean. So I think it was something they said, just,
Wow.
but I've noticed her she's saying she's having tension. So are they all? Because my son, I'm afraid if I tell him any evidence I have, he will completely shun me. But I did show some, and he wrote me this cryptic thing the other day. Mom, this is going on, and there's telling, Babylon the Great's about to fall, that kind of thing, or whatever, that kind of message, like just really, really cryptic. So I don't know if he went to the assembly, because I don't think ours is yet in my town, but he might have listened in. But all I know is they pushed his buttons, and he sounded desperate, and he's, like I said, there's more than one acting like that. And when I asked my mom a little bit about it, she's like, yeah, they are close. We're close. We're right at the door, or something like that. So they are telling them great tribulation's coming and all this kind of stuff. But I don't myself think that's what it is exactly the way they think. I don't know for near end times, but all I know is I think there's some things happening that are to appear like that. And but it's not just like JW's type. So I'm not thinking, oh yeah, let's go back. I think there's something else going on. And so I cannot just react to this fear mongering stuff, But I see that they're working on their emotions. Anyway, I'm sorry I talked too much, you guys. I really apologize.
No, you're not talking too much. Strong points that you gave.
I took the TV down and I talked it on the phone and I could hear.
Oh,
We're doing the same thing.
just to conclude a point that you made, Kim, was that interesting enough that I thought about it. Blue is on the logo of Watchtower. I already said that, but they also use purple. Purple is their logo for the JW app that I have on my phone. You know,
Oh yeah.
so it's kind of interesting to see that they're using certain schemes and certain traditions that Freemasonry has done. And I know that's controversial sometimes. Not everyone thinks that they're wrapped with Freemasonry, but it's very possible because of some of the research I've done that they definitely have roots in it. And it's why there's so much fear mongering, what you were talking about, and why people are having nightmares and they're afraid. And I think Dan Clark said before on his channel or on the show even that his mother said, Dan, I'm gonna die. I didn't go out in service enough. Jehovah's gonna kill me, and it's just so sad what they're doing to all of us. Well, was there anybody else that wanted to give a comment? Thank you, Kim.
Okay, talk to you later.
Didn't mean to make Kim hang up, and if you had anything more to say, I wasn't cutting you off, but just give other people a chance too. But yeah, you know, the level of...
I'm going to watch the rest on the TV though. I'm going to hang up this so that it doesn't mess up with the sound. If that's all right.
Okay, hon. Thanks for calling.
I apologize, though. I did talk too much. I really did.
This is what the show is for us to let it out, you know, for us to show how we wake up, and it's therapy in a way. I know it has been for me too when I've called on the show for Rick, and this is therapy for me right now, just talking to y'all.
Yeah.
And we're all trying to heal from corporation in the disguise of a religion.
Thank you. I'm gonna do that. I'm not quitting. I'm just gonna watch it on the TV now.
Thank you. You got a great voice, by the way. It sounds soft and like my wife's voice a little bit. You got a great radio voice.
Oh, I hate my voice, but thank you. I do.
Thank you. You hear it back at us, and I feel like I sound like Ray Romano almost, just not as nasally. You have a good night. You have a good night. I won't keep you.
I wish I could email. I wish we could all get emails of each other. We've been emailing you and what back and forth. Or
sure.
But I don't think
you give me my email
in limbo spiritually.
If you want my email address, I can give you that if that's what you were saying. Yeah.
Could I send Rick something and to mention that I said it? I'll say it to Rick that I mentioned, or I called in and that I was requesting, and I'll give you my email too, if that's okay. I'm not even making sense here, but so that we could, maybe you and your wife could sometimes email or text or something.
Sure.
I'll put some stuff there so that
Des and I have friends we talk to on Six Screens. So yeah, totally. I'll give you my email address first if you got something or write it down on.
The last bit I didn't hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can give you my email address if you're ready for it.
Oh, okay.
It's all lowercase. And it's my name, Eric, E-R-I-K, not C, E-R-I-K, no space, all one word, C-U-B as in boy, L-E-R. So it says Eric Kubler. And then it's 1981@gmail.com.
Okay, wait, Eric,
E-R-I-K.
B-R.
E as in Eric, E-R-I-K. Sorry, Island accent.
I got that.
So it's lowercase E-R-I-K and then lowercase C-U-B-L-E-R. C is in cat, U is in Ella, B is in boy, L is in Larry, E is in Eric, R is in Robert. 1981 at Gmail.
Okay, CBLER 1981.
No, it's a hard name. CUBLER, Kubler. CU.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's a very unusual name.
LER.
Hard time with it.
Okay, at Gmail.
Yep. 1981 at Gmail.
Okay, I got that. Okay, Eric CUBLER 1981 at Gmail. Right? Okay, I got it, I think.
Thanks a lot, hon. It was great talking.
Thank you. Hope you do well tonight, and everybody calls in. Okay.
Well, isn't it nice, the network that we have here? And Fran and Joe almost, I got to lean close to the mic. Fran and Joe started this, kind of, or Rick really did start it, but they've been pioneering towards it and traveling everywhere. And I've met a lot of good friends on this platform, and it's always nice to have. But well, with the topic that we've been talking about, or even if anyone just has anything they want to add, I'll open up to the audience. Is there anybody who has anything they want to bring up, or even if it's off topic, is there anything you want to just what's on your mind?
I'll just say hi.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Not bad. I just got off the road. I'm at a hotel.
What's your name?
So, what's that?
Oh, who we talking to? What's your name, man?
Oh, it's Daniel.
Oh, hey, Daniel.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. You just got off you're driving on your truck.
Yeah, I picked up a load in New Hampshire, and I was over New Hampshire and Connecticut, and picked up a load in Connecticut and taken it to El Paso, Texas.
Wow.
So I'm in West Virginia right now.
You eat the food along the way? Try to get some food. There's good food in New Hampshire.
Oh yeah, there's some good food. Some of these other places too.
Yeah, if you like seafood, New England's that's what's up.
Oh yeah.
That's cool. You must be pretty tired, huh? You guys, you go the most 8 hours or 10?
I'm supposed to be 10. I drove 12.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody.
Hey, you just told everybody.
Well, yeah, I think I did that, didn't I? Huh?
No, it's okay.
Yeah, it was just not enough time. I don't know how they expect you to do this. It's 2,400 miles, and to one way, and I didn't pick it up until Friday at around 6 p.m. Well, I already drove 7 hours that day, so I drove another 3. Got a hotel Friday night, and then today I'm supposed to have it delivered first thing Monday morning. There is no way under DOT hours I can have it there by Monday morning. I'd be lucky to have it there by Wednesday morning. That's
make up time.
There's too many, going through New York, the outer skirts of the upper state in New York. There's lots of hills, mountains, and stuff like that, and that slows you down. And then this time of the year, road construction is insane. I mean, you'll be stop and go, and it's just like I lost so much time just in road construction. It's crazy.
You just curious. I know we're a little off subject, but I am curious though. And it don't matter. Have you ever had anything impact you, like when there was like BLM riots or any kind of riot that was like shutting down the highway? Because I used to see videos of like truckers not being able to get to work, basically, and you guys are just trying to drop off your materials that makes the country go around.
Yeah, fortunately, I have not been in the areas at the time the stuff like that was going on. So I was kind of lucky. I missed a lot of that. Even when I was doing deliveries I worked out of Portland, Oregon, And those riots they were bad at one time. I mean, they destroyed Portland. Portland, Oregon's not like it's used to be at all. And but my work took me. When I would go to the warehouse to pick up my stuff, I wasn't even going downtown Portland, so I never saw any of it. Only thing I saw was on the news. So I was fortunate in that way. It didn't, mess with me. But my son was doing security for a company, and they told him he was doing security downtown Portland, Oregon, and a lot of the stuff he did was nightclubs and stuff like that, but in some high-end restaurants, and he was armed security. But when they sent him downtown Portland to protect was a native Indian, some type of place. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he had his bulletproof vest on, and he was in SWAT, and he had his rifle, he had 2 pistols and a bunch of he was loaded up and ready. They told him flat out this was his first day working with this company when they sent him to Portland. It says when they actually told him, if you have to fire your weapon, make sure that they're dead. Don't wound them. And he was just like, okay. I was like, he said to me like, no big deal. I was like, son, are you prepared for that? Yeah. He was like, well, if they're coming at me, what do you do? So that was crazy. But he saw a lot of action, my stuff I never saw.
There almost needs to be a balance too, though. Like with just what were we talking about? Sorry. I lost my train of thought. I apologize.
Oh, you're fine, man. Talking about the BLM or the riots, whatever.
Yeah.
Blocking freeways
and. Being armed to the teeth and everything. It's like that's what I was going to say. These days they do need it too, especially in a situation like that because there's riots. But then there's this whole movement, and I know we're getting a little political, but there's this whole movement of like defund the police, and I don't agree with that at all. I actually think they need more money so that we can get better officers. Because they lowered the intelligence bar of of the minimum of what you need in the last 10 years. And I think that they need to spend more money and get braver people that aren't so quick to grab their gun, but are quick to grab it when they need to. I also think they shouldn't be people. They should know. I don't know if it's because of the beard and I'm bald with a shaved head or what, but like they harass me a lot, and they've been leaving me alone lately in the local area I live in because it's a small town. But they'll like check me out and then see that I got a clean record, so it's over in 2 seconds. But I'm always getting my balls busted over the smallest thing in the town, even if like slightly tap on pedal instead of coming to an absolute stop. They'll pull you right over for that. But if they don't have the cause, I won't let them do it. Even if I don't have anything, which I usually never do, have anything shady on me. But they're always looking for something. That's why I think that we should spend more money with their training and make them more protectors of our, we need, because New York used to be one of the safest cities. You could go out there at 3:00 in the morning and not worry about it. New York is not the same since Giuliani left. It's ruined now.
I enjoyed Brooklyn. I was in Brooklyn a few weeks ago, and the guy I'm driving for, that's where he's at, is out of Brooklyn. So I'd walk around. I'd leave my hotel. I'd go down at 3:00 or 2:00. Sometimes there was stuff still open, and I'd go walking around. But I know there's places you don't want to go walking. Yeah.
I think Des and I, my wife and I, we were in New York, and it was like 2:00 in the morning when we got there, and we were staying overnight to see a concert the next day. I think that's what it was. And 2:00 in the morning, we ate at like one of the best restaurants we ever had. Had some seafood and Italian. And it was pretty cool because I mean, even in Rhode Island, they're open. Places are open later than say Gallatin, Tennessee, right outside of Nashville, where I live now. But even Providence went downhill too. It's a small little city, and it's starting to look like California, with like all the homeless and the needles and the doo doo.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in Maryland tonight, and I stopped to get gas, and I was talking to one of the guys. He's pumping gas in his car. I was getting diesel in my truck, and I was asking if he was from here, and he says not anymore. He's here visiting somebody. I said, "Is this a pretty safe place?" He goes, "Not here." I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, like every city, it's got its bad areas. And I said, "Okay, that's good to know." I'm just stopping to get gas anyway and getting the heck out. So, but I've never been on this side of the woods. Some of these, I grew up in Oregon, Washington, California. I've been all over the place on that side of the United States, but not over here. So it's kind of cool getting to see different areas. I love Carolina, North Carolina. It's nice. New Hampshire is really nice.
Yeah, for sure. I'm in New Hampshire, and I've been to what Carolina? Did you say?
What's that?
What Carolina did you say? North or south?
I've been to both.
Okay,
I've driven through them both. I haven't had a lot of time to get out and walk and go check it out, but I've driven through them.
Got you. Cool, man.
Beautiful drive.
Traveling around the country.
What's that?
You like traveling around the country?
Oh yeah,
That's
I
cool.
love to drive anyway and see different areas. It's kind of nice.
So you must be. Are you an introvert? Are you like a reserved person a little bit, or no? You fall asleep at the wheel.
I don't think so.
I could never drive because I get the type of brain that I have. I get distracted so easy when I drive that once I'm tired, I've fallen asleep before and woken up and gotten out of it. But yeah, I could never do what you do.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Plus, you have to fight everybody.
Friend.
You gotta drive for everybody else. My father's a cement truck driver, a retired one, so I know a little bit about it.
Yeah. No, it's I don't know what it'd be like to drive through this part of the areas in the wintertime. I would imagine it'd be miserable because you're gonna hit snow everywhere.
All the time. You gotta shovel your way out.
Exactly.
We were talking about the greed of the Watchtower today, and at one point we were talking about the refugee camp video that they showed, and they posted up a little makeshift thing with the hand and the coin for donations. And I was just gonna get it so bad, Daniel, how bad the witnesses or the governing body are going to squeeze every last penny before they basically drop the F off of the map. Mm-hmm. Sorry I didn't quite, I abbreviated it.
What's really sad is I grew up in this religion, and how they always said how we're so different than the other churches. We never passed the plate.
Yeah.
We're far worse than pass the plate.
Right.
It's just asking for your jewelry, if you're gonna die, leave your property instead of leaving it to your kids, leave it to the Watchtower. It's just these guys are a bunch of greedy bastards.
There's nothing else to call them, really. Well, you can call them a lot of names. I could get creative. I think we all could. I like tight pants Tony. That one worked pretty good when he was. But isn't that something too? That how he just disappeared. They don't want us talking about conspiracy or looking into conspiracy theories, the governing body. But what's the conspiracy behind the mystery of Tony disappearing off the face of the planet? I think we know he's not in Bethel.
I think what it was is he discovered how good it felt to be in tight pants and had a pillow. So it's something to do with a pillow and tight pants.
Hey, you gotta go. And they were so embarrassed by him that they didn't disfellowship him. They just soft shunned him. You're funny, bro.
Hey, David.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, not David. I mean, Eric.
Yeah,
Can I mention one more thing?
sure.
I don't know if you noticed in that video when they're in the refugee camp and the little girl is about to get her food. Well, she first gets given clothes and all this. And they're blue and yellow too, I think. But anyway, then she is served a plate. I mean, is given a plate, and then she's spoon some food. But I'm not kidding. It looked like a tablespoon of food or something. And then she walks over to sit down. I really didn't see any more food than that. And one thing I heard is that in those places, or at least in the ones, the other ones, sponsored ones or whatever, they get given food by the calorie or something. Not exactly. I just said it exactly. Not like regular, but it's given by calorie. Well, if anything, what is that? 100 calories? I don't know, but I don't. If you guys could notice that too, see what you see in that, because that's all I saw was a tablespoon of food given to her, and then she goes and sits down. I'm like, what?
What they didn't show you, she had to split that tablespoon. She had to split that tablespoon with 3 other people.
Hey, Daniel, you're in the food capital there with West Virginia. You're going to have a wonderful breakfast tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
You're in the land of biscuits, fried apples, and good coffee.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's an interesting combination.
So get the big breakfast tomorrow and everything that goes with it.
Or heck, chicken.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I used to spend a lot of summers up there. It's got some good water and good coffee.
Wow.
Maryland has the seafood. If you go south, you're going to be in where the good crab cake fish are.
Oh, hell yeah.
Big breakfast.
I'm heading to Texas, El Paso.
Oh,
Barbecue.
Yeah, they should have homemade biscuits, fried apples, grits, eggs, and coffee, and sausage.
Oh, I love sausage.
So they'll have the whole deal.
Wow.
But definitely the biscuit and the fried apples, which you probably won't get anywhere else.
We don't have to join Weight Watchers after I leave here.
Oh, well, there's no calories in West Virginia. That's the magic of wild and wonderful West Virginia. Nothing has any calories. You have a good night. Safe trip.
Thank you, too. I'm curious about this whole. I miss this whole. So we're not in a bunker now. We're going to refugee camp. What's going on with the refugee? Is it a witness refugee camp, or is it what type of camp? Will they get arrested, or what happened?
There are what do you call it? Let me think of what they're called. Well, they used to call them persecution camps, right? In Hitler's day, but they're called. They exist in our country, but it's a form of concentration camp, I think, but I can't remember concentration camp was the original word I was looking for. But they're calling it something else, and it's like a re-educational camp, and they're all over the country, and they've been built in secret. Mm-hmm. And I just wonder because I'm seeing a pattern with the governing body and the witnesses. They really seem to be listening to the government. And I wonder if they'll send them to these re-education or / concentration camps. If anything should ever happen to where shit hits the fan, if it even does. But the country, it kind of feels like it has a soft, like a cold civil war. That's what it feels like. It feels like the left and the right hate each other.
I think we're going through a major reset. Is what's going to happen. And it isn't going to be Armageddon. It's not going to be, I don't think we're going to have any nuclear, actually. I think we're going to have a World War III. I think we're already basically there, but it's going to get far much worse. But I don't think there's going to be nukes, like just us destroying ourselves and them destroying themselves, basically. I don't think it's going to be that, but I think it is going to get scary, and I think it's going to be a massive reset.
Yeah, something is in the works, and it seems like that, well, I don't want to get too conspiracy theory, but the shadow government that rules the earth, it seems like they're trying to get every country on board with them, and not all countries are going on board. Russia doesn't seem to want to be on board, nor does China. And
Russia has got its own trouble now. If you've seen the news going on there today with that whole, I can't pronounce the guy's name, but basically the military that Russia hired, they're like subcontractors, like mercenaries.
Okay.
They were, I guess, you'd have to watch the news, but I saw part of it is basically the person that he hired, this mercenary guy, basically what he does is he goes around to prisons. He's got his own military. It's his own military group because they've been in Africa. People hire them for all different sorts of things. They were part of what they call the Blood Diamonds in Africa. So they slaughtered a lot of people and did whatever they had to do for different contractors, whoever hired them. Well, Russia, Putin, hired them because he's got a military. People have suspected anywhere from 25 to 50,000. He's got his own. This guy's got his own troops, and a lot of the people that he gets is from prisons, and he basically gives them an opportunity to you can come and learn how to be a soldier with us, but you got to fight on the front lines, or you can spend the rest of your life in prison. And so he's got this huge thing. Well, evidently, because of Russia's military making mistakes, it cost a lot of his guys were getting killed because of Russia making stupid mistakes, right? So he turned on Russia. He turned his troops around. He was going into Russia to attack Russia. And Putin took off. They don't even know where he's at right now. He got on his own plane and got the hell out of there because they were going to arrest him for treason or something like that. This military guy or mercenary guy, and they had tanks parked all over the place in downtown Russia and near the Putin's, I don't know what you call his White House or whatever you call his place. But anyway, supposedly they worked out a deal, but Russia has been like going crazy because not knowing what's going to happen because this guy was turning his military on to Russia. So it's been quite an event to watch. The bits and pieces I've been able to see anyway.
Yeah, good point, man, for sure. And it makes you wonder why I didn't hear about that today about Putin and everything, but it makes you wonder why well, not makes you wonder, why Russia doesn't want Jehovah's Witnesses in their organization or in their country, really, because they see them as a terrorist, and I don't know if they're really terrorists, but the things that they do does terrorize people. It's almost like a soft terrorism. And I couldn't, my life's been destroyed by these people. And I don't see why they should be an active religion anymore. I really don't. They clearly look after their own self-interest rather than the Jesus interest, because they would behave.
They don't even look after their own people either. They're all they are is a big business masquerading as a religion. That's just what they are.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's the comment that Rick has on his sign. That I think it's word for word. It goes on his sign that they're a business masquerading as a religion. I tried to say it before, but you got it more correct. That's exactly what they are. I've always felt like that too. Not always, but I mean, like lately since I've woken up, I've been feeling like that they're not even a religion. The Bible is it's a joke. It's used as a weapon against us, and they go through the Bible and they pick what they want out of it, and then they use it to fit their agenda.
Mm-hmm. Well, think how easy it is now for them to manipulate the scriptures. Before they would come out with re-advised editions, or they came out with a silver sword. Before that, we had the black Bible, then we had the green Bible, and then we had whatever one was before the green Bible. But they would always revise some of the scriptures. I think the silver sword was probably one of the worst ones. But now everything's online. Everybody's got an iPad. You know how easy it is for them to manipulate a scripture? And you just get on your iPad and it says there's an update for jw.org. You do the update. You don't know what all's been changed on there. They might tell you a few things. They ain't going to tell you everything. They could take a word out of a scripture. You wouldn't even know it.
You think they're changing the Bible slowly through something like that?
They have been for years.
I mean, to do that, like, no wonder why then when it was either JP or Dan and Angelo that they were all surprised that they had a Bible instead of a tablet, because they must be strongly encouraging just to use. They don't even want you to use the printed Bible, and that's true on a tablet, on something digital. You can put whatever you can edit anything you want at any time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's clever. It's brilliant, because you get everybody used to doing that, and all they have to do is push an update and encourage you whenever there's an update. They'll probably tell you something like, if you see an update for jw.org, make sure that you update the app. That way it keeps it running smooth and whatever they would tell you. You don't know. They might tell you, well, we put a new brochure on there, or we put a new whatever, or we, whatever.
Tell you that something. They'll just slip it in there and be sly and slick, and then you read the Bible and you're like, yeah, it says this now. Mm-hmm. I would be surprised. They're already kind of done it. They've already slipped governing body, not in the Bible, but in the side notes of the Bible, of the silver sword. So they're already eking their way into it, and they keep saying the first century governing body, and it's like Tony Morris says one time, there's always been a governing body. What are you guys talking about? But that's not true. Actually, in the modern time that we live in, there wasn't always actually a governing body. It was a president. So he's really full of horse shit. They all are. They're all sorry to swear. But I mean, is someone trying to give a comment? Go ahead.
Yeah, Timothy. It's Timothy. I was going. I left in 2018 and woke up about then. And but I had played it before 2 or 3 times. In the meantime, I did go to college and I did learn a little bit of critical thinking. But one thing little by little in the last few years, I've noticed them put governing body in there. Only it's little g, little b. And of course, the other they are big G, big D, And,
hey, I really would like to hear what you have to say, but I'm having a hard time hearing you. Is there any way you can get a little closer to the microphone?
Oh, I'm not close enough to the microphone?
Or something. I don't know. I was a little muffled.
On one of them on my phone.
It could be my end, who knows, but I'm having a little hard time hearing you. Let me see if I can turn up my volume.
She just sounded really low is all, yeah.
I might have had my finger on one of the things on the phone. I don't know.
That sounds
better now.
Yeah, I can hear you a lot better now.
Okay, that's the one I know of. Yeah, so little g, little b for the other governing body that they added in there that used to be the older men. Now they are the big G, big B, and then on the memorial they sing the song to them. That when they love you, something that it's talking about everybody, how much they love, I think, the governing body. I mean, come on. Which is, to me, blasphemy or worship. I mean,
yep.
It's terrible. Yeah, if you go back and look into what are they singing on that night, I think they've been doing it for a while, which is they're having them worship them and then reject Jesus.
Yeah, see, that wouldn't surprise me, because I was just thinking the same thing. They already got you rejecting the blood of Christ and not even realizing it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, because
the last thing I ever went to was the memorial, and I was married at the time, and I had already done my research, so I was pretty much out at that point. But the last meeting I went to was the memorial, and I told my wife at the time, I said, I'll go, but just so you know, I'm going to partake. And she goes, "Oh my God, really?" And I said, "Don't worry, I'll go to this Kingdom Hall had it where you would come in to the Kingdom Hall with double doors, and then you had the women's restroom on the right and the men's on the left, and you had a couple drinking fountains. Then you had to walk through 2 more double doors to go into the auditorium." Well, so what I did is I went all the way back by the double doors and went outside because I knew the elders had to go everywhere to make sure everybody gets an opportunity. And so I went all the way to the very back, and so nobody would see me other than the brother was, serving it. And just happened to be, my sister had a newborn baby. I didn't know she was in the bathroom. And right as I don't remember if it was the wine or the bread, but I think it was the bread. My sister comes out of the bathroom and just happens to look up right as I was putting a little piece in my mouth. I thought, oh my God. Because see, my dad was out in the main auditorium, and he partook every year. He hadn't been since I was a teenager, or about 12 anyway. And so first thing she did is went sat next to my parents and says, "Do you know what Daniel just did?" Yeah, that was an instant shunning for about 6 months.
Oh.
But I knew if I was going to go, I was not going to not partake. I knew I had learned too much at that point to sit there and just pass it along once again, But I wasn't going to make a scene either,
Mm-hmm.
For sure, man. Well, yeah. Thanks for. Oh, go ahead.
Oops. Oh, I'm sorry. The last memorial in Hungary, I think it was 2017. All I know is I wasn't well. I get a lot of headaches, and it was real bad, but I still went, and I didn't feel up to going, but it ended up being standing room only, and so I ended up in the bathroom most of the time or standing. So I got to sit a little bit in the bathroom and then stand the rest of the time. It was terrible. And they really didn't plan it right. It was really too packed, way, way, way packed. But it was terrible for someone that wasn't well. And, nobody even thought to check to see, if I was okay or anything. And I know the elders knew that I wasn't doing well, So I had a full procedure. So they didn't check. So that was the last time I actually tried to go. So anyway, that's all I wanted to add.
You know what's crazy about the memorial? Memorial is Jehovah's Witnesses.
I just wanted to say,
buy new dresses, get their hair done, get their nails done. Men go out. Well, some men go out buy new suits, whatnot. It's like you're going on the red carpet. That's their celebrity or their red carpet night.
I think it's so cool that you partook. You made me laugh. They would probably see it as disrespectful, but it's actually
What's that?
Oh, I said they probably would see it as disrespectful what you did if if they don't think you're actually need to partake. But actually, the disrespectful part or the sacrilege part is them not partaking. That's the bogus part. We're all disciples, and we're all supposed to partake.
Well, when you learn that you were taught your whole life that it's something only for the anointed and anointed alone, and when you finally stumble across the scripture that we've read how many times, and when Christ took his disciples to the room where they ate of his blood or ate of his body and drank of his blood, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyway, basically, they were not of the anointed yet.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is other people were invited that were not of the anointed, because the anointed didn't happen until Pentecost 33 CE.
When Christ's death.
They were not of the anointed. When
it wasn't Christ's time. Yes, exactly.
That's the scary part of it.
Yeah. For sure, Daniel. I totally agree with you. I think the scariest part is just them taking the place of our mediator, and that's why they're having us do such things that are even worse than what the Pharisees put upon the people. You know, I mean, they just want they want everything from you, your life and soul.
Yeah. And you have no mediator. You know, there's another teaching that I learned about later on as I was doing my homework. It took me about almost 3 years. I was researching everything, but using their publications and the Watchtower CD-ROM. And it was one of the older publications. I don't remember what it was in, but basically it was stated that technically the only ones that are Jehovah's Witnesses are the ones of the anointed. So the rest of the crowd is observers, is what they are. They're not even technically a Jehovah's Witness. Yet, what do they baptize you as? And that's why I thought kind of interesting is how they manipulated the baptism questions later on in I think it was the 80s, late 80s, where it was, instead of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, they hijacked the Holy Spirit and it's spirit-directed organization. And it's like, oh, okay, so now I'm getting baptized into a corporation. I'm not really a Jehovah's Witness. I'm just a publisher, basically, or a now baptized publisher. That's all I am. Technically, I'm not one of Jehovah's Witnesses because I'm none of the anointed.
Yep.
according to their belief system.
Yeah. Plus, I think for reasons that Watchtower can't get sued, they like disconnect the publishers from Watchtower. They're their publishers. They're not. They don't have. I don't know. I don't remember how it completely goes, but I know they weasel their way out of having any accountability for anything they do all the time. I almost wonder if they run the place. Oh, I said I almost wonder if the lawyers run the place really, because they're just bailing themselves out constantly, and it's like, do they make the decisions for everything that happens?
Mm-hmm. Well, if you ever read, oh, go ahead. Sorry, sister.
Sorry, I apologize. You know Smurf Girl. You know her videos. I think she called herself Smurf Girl.
Yeah, of her. I haven't seen. Yeah, go ahead.
You know what I mean?
Yep, I know what you mean.
Smurf Girl. I'm sorry, I can't tell if you said something.
Oh, I said I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, she has some videos about that. What you just said, Daniel, and I don't know where she goes back into some of the I think the books or something to show that, and then she talks about in Greece they call themselves Jehovah's Martyrs, martyres or something, martyrs.
Wow.
So they're called Jehovah's Martyrs in Greece, which reminds me a couple of years back in the convention, they kept talking like they're expecting them to be martyrs, and they kept saying things like, thank you for your sacrifice, thank you, about the children and everything. And it got spooky. Now, maybe I was watching too many conspiracy things, I don't know, but it just seemed freaky the way they were talking that. So if you wouldn't mind at all, and if you do go back and look at something to do with a couple of years back, maybe even a year, it could have been a year, but I'm thinking too, they seem to be talking too much about like how they were gifts to them, like everybody's gifts to them, to the governing body, how Jesus gave them all the possessions or almost all or whatever. But it was weird how it was Brother Let. He was really going into it one of the times, and how they were going to sacrifice something. But it just sounds spooky. It just kept giving me a bad vibe, like Jonestown all over too,
Mm-hmm.
It's freaking me out now because they're saying that too much, and then they're saying too much about obeying, even if it doesn't make sense. And they're also shutting off their critical thinking a lot, so that they're almost drones, and they're not noticing things like their red flag system is down. Okay, it's broken. no meter at all, And so it just, and then with it being called Jehovah's Martyrs, why, And so it just kind of, to me, just does seem a little bit spooky. And, what are they really trying to do? So,
Something to think about too with the Watchtower, when they're saying stuff like, we might ask you to do something that doesn't make any sense or whatever. Now think about this. You remember the scripture where Jesus is talking about, you're now a free people. Be careful you don't allow your yokes to become enslaved again.
Yeah.
See, they were no longer under all the Pharisees and Sadducees laws. Jesus basically was freeing God's people. And here, if you really look at it and examine the Watchtower, it does just the opposite. They enslave you. They put you under so many rules and regulations. You can be disfellowship for this. You can be disfellowship for that. You could disagree. You can't even be a Berean. You can't even follow the Bereans' example in the Bible. If you do and you ask questions, good luck.
Yeah.
So if you look at all the examples we have in the Bible, whether we still believe in it or not, if we're going off the Bible as far as truth, the Watchtower doesn't add up. It doesn't fit.
No.
Amen. Hey, if I could just, because I don't do this often, and I'm new to this, doing the live stream or video, there's a comment in the comment section, Andy234, and he says, served as an elder for 25 years. During one memorial, the fellow elder on our body was giving the talk, and he forgot to pray over the bread and again the wine. Had to be verbally reminded by the PO. And then there's a Canadian flag, so he must be from Canada. But thanks, Andy, for that.
Wow.
The organization, it's that's a whole nother topic, but there's a lot of things that go wrong. And we all would laugh at it when we were in it, Some of the really weird things that people would say.
Hello?
Oh, yeah.
Hi, can I?
Yes. How you doing? What you got to say? And who are you?
Hey, this is JP. How's it going?
Hey, JP. I didn't recognize your voice. What's up, man?
JP in the house.
What's up? Yeah, how's it going, everybody?
Good,
I wanted to say, going along with what Daniel was saying earlier, about them changing the New World Translation. He's totally correct, and I was in the same line of thought the other day. I was talking to Gilbert and his brother on their channel the other day when he was talking about Dan and Angela's video, and it was really similar to my experience over there at the convention, that there was no Bibles there and stuff. And one thing I was thinking was that they are doing that because they constantly change things, about it used to be the not the coordinator, but it was the presiding overseer, and then they changed it from district conventions to regional conventions. They're constantly changing stuff, and I was thinking that's the thing that they're changing too, is everybody's on digital. So if you go to the convention like how Dan did and myself, and you have a Bible, you kind of stand out. But I was also thinking, and I forgot to mention it on Gilbert's program, but I'm glad Daniel brought it up tonight, was that it gives them an unlimited amount of power to change the New World Translation and to constantly do that. And I think that's why they're encouraging their members to just read that, because back in the day when they first came out with their New World Translation, and I think around 1950, they had that one, and then they had the Green Bible, and then the burgundy and black ones, which are the ones that probably most of us were familiar with. And each one of those, they changed a lot, and then it changed a lot with the Silver Bible. But they can't constantly keep reprinting Bibles if they want to change it because it'll be too suspicious to, people that are trying to believe in this stuff. So I think, like Daniel was saying, and I was thinking the same thing too, is they're just going to keep it online like that so they can constantly change words or that throughout, the remaining history of Watchtower.
And can you imagine how much it costs them to print a Bible? Even if they buy things at a group or like a large quantity, to print a Bible for everybody in the United States, plus the other countries, other languages, all that money now goes into their pockets. And it's got to add up.
Cost efficient. Yeah.
They got to be making...
It's a win-win situation.
Exactly.
Yeah, great point, JP.
That was the only thing I was thinking about that.
Yeah, thanks a lot. You wonder if this world keeps going on, as they call it. Like you were saying, they'll have another Bible. They'll keep easing everybody into trusting them, and then have another Bible that they'll eventually put governing body in it. You wait.
Yeah, they're starting to do it slowly, little by little, and I just wanted to bring up the importance of that Daniel brought up earlier, because I totally forgot to mention that on Gilbert's show, but it was a really important point what he brought up. And they do have another Bible. I don't know if anybody has seen it. It's like a golden Bible, and it's a reference Bible. It's just of the New Testament, or the Greek scriptures, as they would call it. I don't know if anybody has seen that yet, but it looks, and it's built just like the Silver Sword, like the same quality. It's pretty nice Bible, but it's just the New Testament. And I don't know if anybody has seen that yet.
I've seen it. My dad has one.
Really?
I heard about it, yeah.
Is that Brad?
Yeah, it's a gold. It's like a Silver Sword, but it's a golden Bible.
I have to be honest. It's a really nice looking Bible.
Very nice.
It's very nice. But when I asked my old man about it, I was like, "Didn't you just get a new one? What are you going like? Where's the bronze one? Because you've got silver and gold now. Where's your bronze?" I only remember black.
There you go.
Yeah, it's just a reference. This is just a reference Bible. And I was like, "Why is it gold and the other one's silver?" Oh, I don't know. I don't make those decisions. Whatever, dude.
Gold is only for they're totally not Freemasons. Gold's only for the people that deserve that copy. You're worthy of the new one.
Right now, my dad does not deserve that copy. I'm gonna go steal it then, because he don't deserve that shit.
That's why it's bronze.
I'm waiting for the diamond.
Yeah, it's only bronze. I want the platinum one. That's the one I'm waiting for.
Yeah, platinum. That's what I was saying.
Oh yeah.
That was signed by the governing body. Yeah.
Doesn't even have Genesis in it anymore.
Then the quality will go down, because the Bible will be such crap at this point. They'll make it carbon fiber.
It just says obey on the front.
That's too expensive.
Oh shoot, obey.
Hey, I'm just because I want to include the people in the comment section. Let me just there's a couple of comments here. Eric, was you disfellowshipped in Tennessee? No, I was not disfellowshipped in Tennessee. I was disfellowshipped in Rhode Island. But I tried to get reinstated, my wife and I, in Tennessee, and so we know some elders here. They rejected us. I think it was a total of 4 letters for me, only 1 letter to these, or 2 letters to the guys in Tennessee, and 3 letters from my wife, and they didn't want us in. Desiree almost got reinstated, but it ended up not working out. I've told the story before, but I thought I'd tell you that, Brooker T. Adams, to answer your question. But yeah, in a way, I've experienced being disfellowshipped in Tennessee. I've been to some of their in-person meetings before COVID, and then I never made any meetings after COVID. And if I did make them, I would put the phone down and not listen to it and listen to like some apostate channel. But thanks for the comments, guys. I'm losing my religion from blue streak. We all feel that way, but it's a good thing. And my family couldn't even go on a work bee at our Kingdom Hall. None of us took the vaccines. Wow. Vancouver, absolutely absurd. Wow. You know, that is insane. That's a powerful comment because that's what I was saying before, that I feel like they're in bed with the governments because they're pushing the jab. And I'm sorry, it is a medical personal decision for every person. I'm not going to just talk shit about the vaccine, and I'll try to be neutral about it. But it's everyone's personal right to want to have it or not. There are people out there that are straight up allergic to it. I personally don't trust it quite yet. You know, that's my personal thing. So why should a bunch of 9 men in New York be telling us what to do with our health? So very good point, man. Sorry to cut anybody off on the phone.
So I guess you guys haven't heard the news then.
What's that?
Fauci's going to be one of the newest governing body members.
Basically, he is in a metaphor. Yeah.
Fauci is exactly like the governing body. Same level of arrogance, same level of stupid voice, same level of ugly look.
Good point. And somebody who
with a narcissism
pushing something on us, like the governing body, working
for somebody.
The governing body are telling us what to do with our children, and they don't. Most of them don't have kids, and Stephen Lett hates them. So Fauci is a lot like that. He could be right on board. They probably would all vibe really well in a room together. You know, chill out. Oh, isn't it great how we dominate men? Mankind.
None of them have kids anymore. The last one that had kids was Morris, and now he's gone.
Yep. Yeah, good point.
We got a childless governing body that's telling 8 million people what to do with their kids.
Yeah, you're right. Ain't that scary?
Morris is wearing his tight pants with his kids and probably having pillow fights.
Wow, I just thought I would bring this up because that's a record for me. In the comment section again, sorry to do this to everyone, but Brooker T. Adams, my coworker, is on her fifth disfellowshipping. Jesus Christ, that is horrible. That is all right. I knew a guy that did 4, and we thought he was the record, you know, and he committed suicide from if there was going to be a 5th. We were suspicious that there might have been. But I'm so sorry for that coworker that you're working for, Brooker. That is awful. That is so awful. 5 disfellowship. Just leave the person alone at some point. You know, they're never gonna, whatever their weakness is, they really aren't gonna really get over it until they get some real help, or if it even is a problem. I mean, my problem for getting disfellowshipped was marijuana, and it's so stupid because the state that I was living in was legal at the time when I was living there, and I don't really feel like I'm doing a drug more than I am a medicine. I was prescribed from a doctor in Rhode Island. For hemophilia, and I don't feel like I'm doing anything wrong doing it, but they do, so they get to dictate my life because they're my conscience. Good point, Brooker.
Well, you just got to take a plasma, just take a plasma of it, and it'll be okay, or a fraction, maybe a marijuana fraction. Maybe you can have that.
That's funny, Daniel. Well, you can eat it. That's their stipulation. They let you eat it with the card, but it has to only be for medical issues. They don't even want you to have it for anxiety. They don't consider having a stressful day. And you have your blood pumping a little bit, you know, and being anxious. They don't consider that. And that's such crap because that's exactly what it's for, and it's a harmless plan. I mean, it grows from seed and it's not mixed with anything else unless you get some fentanyl stuff that's flying around from our border being destroyed in Mexico. And I know I'm ranting now, sorry. But is it? Yeah, they're trying to speak up.
You know that our bodies have these things called natural, something like cannabinoids.
Yep,
Like our bodies have something like an amino acid that somehow works with it as if we've always had it. I don't know about with the THC, but like we've always had that plant in around humans have always had it around them or something because we produce natural, I think they call them cannabinoids. So a lot of people in the natural health community are saying this is something that's helped a lot of people with cancer. It's actually helped so many different things, and it doesn't have to have the THC to do that. And so maybe that's why certain agencies don't want us to get it because it might help too many things, and then we don't need other types of medications. If you get my drift, you know that are being promoted everywhere. You know, so they don't want us to have the alternate kind, so make it hard for us to get it. And so, but it's actually more healthy maybe for us, some of it. At least, I don't know about what the THC part to it, but the other part, you know, the C.
I think you're talking about CBD, Kim. The CBD is the non-psychoactive part, and it helps with seizures.
Yeah.
It can help with mild pain.
Yeah.
Some people need the THC because the CBD is not enough, and they can handle the psychoactive. Some people cannot handle the psychoactive. I'm personally myself, from having it since I was 16, it's never. I was before I got disabled. I was a hustler, and I made money and I worked full time in an auto body industry as a painter. I mean, it didn't affect me in that way. I'm not like pushing it. I'm just saying that I should have never been removed from my family because I partook. Like even when I was eating it, it's like, okay, so if I take a capsule that has THC, or I could take a capsule that is a Prozac, and the Prozac has kind of been proven to be a very dangerous drug for a lot of people. I'm not saying it's.
Oh yeah.
I'm not being a doctor here and saying Prozac's evil. I'm just saying there's been bad side effects to pharmaceuticals, and cannabis has less.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. And I'd rather.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of trying to say.
If there's something that I can do to get off some more medications, and just have that without much, blowback, basically, much symptoms, but my point being is that the men judging us all for something like a plant like that is just so innocent. And who are they? They don't do it. They don't know what it is. They just think you're a drug addict. They don't know that it's really just you can't overdose on it. It's not like, I mean, I used to the doctors prescribed me Percocets, and I wouldn't take them. I didn't like them. I just got rid of them. They're too much powerful of a drug, and they hurt you. You can get sick on them. And I don't know. I'm more into the natural side of healing for the most part, or medicine. Not all of it. I have to depend on pharmaceutical. I'm not saying it's all evil, but my point being, the elders need to butt the heck out in the governing body, because they know what they're talking about, and they're very limited in their knowledge because they have a belief system that they are going to stick to no matter what. And I'm sorry, I'm rambling on a little bit.
Sense. What's funny is when I had my kids, all teenagers, their friends would drop seeds into my yard because I was always gardening, and I keep finding them and plucking them out because then I was all scared, I was always thinking something terrible would happen, cops come and arrest me, or something. But I would always see these little things coming up, like, where'd that come from? Oh no, my kids are always doing that. Anyway. So I better get off because my neighbors are making noise now. I guess they're doing 4th of July stuff out there.
It happens early, doesn't it? Especially here in the South. I mean, But everybody's ready to fire a bottle rocket or something.
Yeah, it's out there. And I have a squeak that keeps ringing every so often. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know if I have lights, colored lights lining my wall, like just to give me color therapy, and it really helps, by the way. But for some reason, I have some little beep every now and then, and I keep having to tell myself it's a bird because I cannot find the source. It's this little squeak, like it's an old battery from a smoke detector. But I'm not kidding. It's been a month that it's doing this, and I can't find the source. If you heard that, I just did it again. So, anyway, I apologize for that. But I'm going to mute because they're having fun outside. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, I'm still listening and enjoying the conversation. So, okay.
Well, thank you for calling in. It's always nice hearing from you, and I'll hear from you when you email me. Thanks a lot, hon. Well, ain't it something, everybody? There's so much to talk about. It feels like we could never run out of material almost. Let's see. There was something I was going to bring up, unless somebody else wanted to say something. I'm just looking here on my notes. But I was thinking also of one thing that really ticked me off to backpedal a little bit. Since we're talking about greed tonight, is when I found out that the disaster relief work is all a con, that pissed me off. That is messed up, because they are using free labor and then getting the check on top of that. That I couldn't believe. I mean, I believe it. I couldn't believe that they would stoop so low and they're just like, look, all we have to do is do it for Jehovah, and they'll do it, right? And it's just disgusting to me that they would stoop so low. And not for nothing, what kind of carpenters are you getting? I hope you're getting good carpenters that are fixing your roof. I hope they give a crap too, since they're doing it for free. And at the end of the day, that check that you get is still going to Watchtower. That is a load of crap. That's such an obvious scheme and scam. I'm sure there are people, and I think I've heard stories on Reddit where people never had them do the work on their houses and just went through another company. And you'll end up saving money too, because Watchtower wants the full amount, whereas a contractor might work with you. Be like, well, the insurance company is giving me this, and it'll cost me that, and that's plenty for me, and here's a little bit left over for you. Sometimes things like that work. But Watchtower, for them to want free money basically off of other people's labor, and their promise, I guess their promise is, right, and all these guys in the LDC and RBC. And I never did disaster relief, but I did RBC or LDC work. And what a waste of time, because at the end of the day, you're slaving for a corporation, and their promise to you is that if you did it for us, you did it for him, being Jesus or Jehovah. And it's not your gift of paradise to give away. At the end of the day, it is Jesus who does the separating work, and God, not the governing body. So everything that these people are trying to strive to, even my father-in-law on his Facebook page, he's very proud that he's in the LDC, and he has a big long list of things he does for it. And it's like, God don't care about that. How did you treat people? Sorry for the rant. Is there anybody that wanted to talk or leave a comment what we're talking about tonight?
I was just thinking, remember the quick builds back in the late 80s, 90s? I remember going to quick builds for, oh gosh, almost like every weekend, because we were in California, I think at the time, near Watsonville, California. And so there were Kingdom Halls going up. The Hispanic congregations were growing like crazy. So we were doing quick builds almost every weekend. And I remember I had gotten disfellowship, and I got reinstated eventually. And but I was on private reproof. No. I wasn't on private reproof. I hadn't got all my privileges back yet. You know how you get reinstated and they would make you wait?
Yeah, you got
what it was, 6 months.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that I couldn't go to a quick build. If you're even though you're reinstated, you're not allowed to go to a quick build because that's part of the privilege. Didn't know that. So I'm out working with my dad. Didn't even know. I was out working with my dad and them, and all of a sudden the presiding overseer came up to my dad and started talking to my dad and says, "What's Daniel doing here for?" And my dad just kind of looks at him. He's helping with the quick build. He's not allowed. And my dad said, "Why?" Because he hasn't got all of his privileges back yet. So my dad came and got me and says, "I'm sorry, son, you got to go." And we were in Coalinga, California. I think that's what it was called. And we were hours away. It was not like I could just get in the car and just run home real quick, And we were several hours away. I don't know, it was like 5 or 6 hours away or something. But I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that I could not participate in.
Did they ask you to leave? They did, like at the end.
Yeah, I had to leave. I couldn't.
Wow. I can't believe that. You know what? The same thing happened to me, but in the opposite way. When I got reinstated, I was an auto body painter and skilled one. Like I had some experience under my belt, and they're spray painting doors for the Kingdom Hall. And I still didn't have my privileges yet. And he really there was an elder who was Italian, and he was like, "I'm gonna make it happen for you. I really need you." And he told the guy on my
wow.
And then he made it happen. They called me that night, and I was at a mall, and I told my wife like it was a good thing, and it wasn't like, "Oh, look, you get to do free labor. Isn't that awesome?" But I did have a good time with this elder. He's not an elder anymore. This Italian guy, and he's a really cool dude. I'm part Italian, and we both know how to joke around with each other and have some of that nationality in common with each other. And he ended up getting removed as an elder because there was another elder who was trying to force him to give him labor, and get paid for it. And the guy that I'm friends with is a master carpenter, and he works for really high end clients that pay a lot of money, and he can't just have any monkeys working for him. He'd rather just do all the work himself if he doesn't have anybody to do it. He has to be at a certain bar, and the guy kept forcing himself on him and sanding stuff, and he's like, "No, you don't know what you're doing. Get out of here." And he kept warning him, and then finally the guy pushed his button so much, the other elder, that he said, and I'm just going to swear, sorry, everybody. He said, "Ralph, get the fuck out of here." And he got removed as an elder for it. And it was probably a good thing. He was a good elder. There's not many of them, but he probably didn't belong with them. But he accepted the demotion and the council, but it's like, you didn't do anything wrong. Why wasn't that other elder called out for pushing his buttons? No means no. Come on, man. Sorry for going on a little bit, but I thought I would add that to your story because it's like with you, they wanted to make a point and not let you just because of a technicality. And for me, because of the technicality, they just wanted to bury it and be like, "Well, we need this guy."
That's crazy, man. Huh.
It's the good old boy club with the elders, and it depends on the elders and who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Who you know.
Yeah, I learned that later on. It's I forgot what somebody told me it was called with each congregation. It's house rules or congregational rules or something. So one congregation would be fine if the elders and ministerial servants have a beard or a goatee, where other congregations it's an absolutely no, and I know in Hawaii there was this brother that was giving me a terrible time in Beaverton, Oregon, because after I got reinstated, I grew my goatee, but I always kept it well trimmed and everything. And I went out and serviced it and everything. and he was married to my wife at the time, her cousin, and so he was trying to become an elder. He was a ministerial servant, same age as I was at the time, and every time we would get together, we were both painters, house painters, and basically he was just like, we would do jobs together sometimes. He was just like, he always had to bring up my goatee. It's like, that can be a sign of rebellion, this and that, and I just tell him that's not why I'm wearing it, and so anyway, they end up going to Hawaii for a short time, and all the brothers, the elders and ministerial servants, wore beards and goatees, and they were not clean shaved. I mean, they were scraggly. They didn't like trim them and make them look nice or whatnot, and he couldn't believe it. And so the circuit overseer came through, and he had to make a big deal about it. He goes, why are these brothers allowed to serve with goatees? And he says it's I think he said congregational rules or house rules or something. And when he came back from Hawaii, he never gave me a bad time about my goatee ever again. It was just crazy. But I had people, I guess there was people that had an issue with me going out in service with a goatee, because I'd go out with my dad and stuff. I didn't go out a lot, but when I did, and I worked with the elders out in service, and finally at one point the elders pulled me in the back room, and it was interesting. I thought I was really in some trouble because there was three of them. I was like, is this a judicial committee? Oh, no. We just wanted to talk to you and just wanted to know why I had the goatee. And I just told them that, one, I said, you can see the redness in my face, right? It's just using a razor. Even if I used really good shaving cream, it would just cause my face just to like rash, especially around my chin area and stuff. So I just said, screw it. I was tired of shaving, but I just kept it really trimmed and looked nice. And they were like, oh, okay. They were like, oh, yeah, us brothers, when we go hunting or we go whatever, camping, we grow beards. And they said, this is the one thing we're looking for. When the lawyers and the police officers start wearing goatees and beards, then we'll probably accept that in the congregation. And I was thinking to myself, since when do you look at worldly people for acceptance?
How about Jesus?
Otherwise, what was funny is about a year later,
had a beard.
I saw the police wearing goatees.
They micromanaged so badly that what they did to me. Because I was busy in auto, and I was a witness at the time, and I was doing flat rate work. It's like commission. So the more you do, the more you make. And I was trying to provide well for my family. And I knew I had not either a part or microphone. I don't remember which. Some kind of assignment. And I made sure that I shaved in the morning so that when I get there at night, I would just come home. I'm not going to even eat because I know I'm coming home late. Go to the meeting, get dressed, wash up, get to the meeting, and then, come home and eat afterwards. And I got counseled for having a brother said you didn't shave. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, you have a shadow. I shaved.
Oh
though it's like, so do you see how like Pharisee that is? It's like, oh, dude, you didn't shave right before the meeting. You need to shave twice a day. And my grandfather told me that he has a lot of testosterone and he has to shave twice. And I'm a hemophiliac, a bleeder, and it kind of sucks to shave. That's why I have this long beard. I'm sick of shaving. I'm done. I'm done living by Watchtower's rules, Daniel, and everyone listening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, has anybody else got anything to say? It's been good talking to everybody.
Hey, Eric?
Yeah.
Hey, Eric?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you good.
I'm the one whose coworker was discouraged 5 times.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
She wants to go back and get reinstated, and I don't know what else to talk. I've talked to her too. I'm blue in the face, and she just doesn't want to. She because she's afraid her kids are gonna be destroyed at Armageddon.
Poor thing.
You know, yeah, and it's you know, I don't. Her mom is a devout witness, you know, pioneer, and it's just, you know, mom gives her a lot of guilt trip, I think, you know.
Plus, she loses her family.
What's that?
Plus, she loses her family on top of that, you know, every time. So it's like there's. I mean, let's face it. Most people are coming back for guilt and to get their family life back and their friends. And then it's not the same. This poor girl, she probably is looked down upon in the congregation every time she gets reinstated, like regardless, because there's really no love in that organization.
I know, and then I was trying to tell her that, you know, the elders are gonna be suspicious of her. You know, every time she gives a fellowship, they're gonna think she's not really serious. You know, she's not. She's not
it might be too personal, but you know what she's getting disfellowshipped for, brother, or sir?
Well, the first time she was really young and she had a baby out of wedlock. The second time, and then she moved in with her boyfriend, and the elders told her, they disfellowshipped her, and they said the only way they'll reinstate her is if she breaks up with her boyfriend. She broke up with her boyfriend,
marries him,
reinstated her after about a year, and then she married a worldly guy, and they disfellowshipped her for that.
Wow.
And then since she was married, they reinstated her, you know, but then they disfellowshipped her again because her husband's not a witness, and so they went to a Christmas party, and they said that she was celebrating Christmas, so that's a form of apostasy. So they disfellowshipped her for that.
Oh, they ruthless. Thank you for giving this comment. This is awful. This poor girl. Sorry.
It's like a soap opera. And then the fourth time, when she got reinstated again, the fourth time her husband, he left her. Her worldly husband left her, and then she had an affair with somebody at our job. And then she got she turned herself into the elders, and they disfellowshipped her for that.
They wouldn't even give her a break for her confessing it.
Yeah, so
I'm not giving. You go to a Catholic church, and it's between like. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking over you. So sorry, brother.
Well, she just went back because she's so with COVID. She said the Great Tribulation might be near, so she went back, running back, and you know they reinstated her on Zoom, and then she's just been just like a nervous wreck because she keeps thinking that, you know, Armageddon's gonna come, and you know, I just feel so bad for her. I don't know what else to talk to her, what else to say to her, you know.
I don't know if you could encourage her to reach out to Six Screens or if she would even do that. But like, you could tell her that there are people here that at one time would look at this type of material or talk to these type of people, but we've woken up and we realize that we're being abused from this organization and that this isn't the truth. And the best thing you can do for somebody to convince them, if you really wanted to get involved, is all it takes is the scriptures to prove them wrong. But then again, a lot of people are so brainwashed and so indoctrinated that it's hard to wake them up out of it. You know, it's sad. I got woken up just because of the abuse, and at some point it's like, this cannot be. And then once you start down the rabbit hole, but for her to talk to someone who has been disfellowshipped twice, like myself, right? And I just, without trying to bust her beans or like her religious beliefs, I would just kindly tell her that you don't need to be treated like this, and you really need to find yourself and realize that Jesus is our mediator. You don't need to confess your sins to nobody, you know.
Yeah. Is your family witnesses, or?
I'm sorry?
Is your family witnesses, or
All of them, yeah,
Like
and,
your mom and your dad?
too. So we're shunned from every single one of them. We're viewed as apostates.
Oh, okay. That's kind of hard because
Our crime is not
her
moving.
mom is really, her mom is really into it.
Yeah.
You know, pioneers and elders and minister of service in her family. So that's what she, she's afraid they're going to, shun her. And, well, they did shun her when she was a fellowship, but when she got reinstated, she felt so good that she was able to be able to talk to them again. And one time she was in a hospital, like it was a fellowship, they didn't even come visit her. When she was a fellowship, they didn't come to even visit her.
Wow.
And that really hit her then. You know, I went and visited her, even though, I just did that. I just couldn't understand that she could be treated like that.
So you're friends enough with her that she confided to you what was going on in her life, huh?
Oh, yeah, well, we've been working together for years.
Yeah.
And I stayed it. But she, I tried to talk to her, and she was saying,
Oh, so you were in it? You're not just a worldly person or whatever. You faded from it. Okay.
No, I'm a witness too, but I just don't go to the
I don't mean worldly to all worldly people out there. It's actually a compliment.
But she tells me everything, so, and I just listen to her, because I used to try to talk to her, but I just stopped and I listen to her, but right now she's trying to get reinstated for the 6th time, because the last time, she got this fellowship, she told me she got this fellowship because she was smoking marijuana, and I thought about you when you said that. So she, trying to go back now. But she said the elders told her that it's going to be a while before they reinstate her. And so now she's scared because she's thinking that she might be disqualified on the getting time. So they're doing a number on her.
Yeah, they sure are. And, it seems like they have a personal vendetta with her. And what's frustrating is, with my personal experience, I've noticed where I'm getting my balls broken for, say, smoking marijuana. But the elder of another congregation, or whatever the presiding, or whatever it changed, I can't presiding overseer's son, he smoked pot at rock concerts too. So now he doesn't get touched. Anytime he goes into the room, he's forgiven. Nothing. It's like Teflon Mike. Nothing sticks. His name was Mike, but we'll call him that. But yeah, it's frustrating that she seems like she's being picked on. This is harassment, in my opinion. Especially for celebrating. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Because what's the more of a, all right, let's for sake of argument, let's call Christmas pagan. You know what else is pagan? The disfellowshipping ring. And Christmas brings happiness and joy and togetherness with family and gifts. And the disfellowshipping arrangement doesn't do any of that. In fact, it does the opposite and tears families apart. And what a load of crap. I mean, let's just pretend, for argument's sake, that everything's pagan. Let's just use the good pagan ones. And you know what I mean? I feel bad for what she's going through. I think the elders are really just looking for. It's almost like they have vendetta. They just want to find something on it. If that is an incredibly sad story. 5 times. That's the record for me now, because it was 4 from someone I personally knew. But now we're on to 5.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I didn't think that. I thought when celebrating a holiday, they just put them in fruit. I didn't think it was jealousy people there.
I didn't hear that last part.
No, I didn't. I thought if someone was celebrating a holiday, they just put them in fruit. I didn't think they were disfellowship and stuff for that. Yeah,
they do that. They do that now. Yep. I think it's in. I'd have to look it up because I have a copy, but I think it's in the Elders book, the Shepherd's Flock of God book, that pagan holidays like that, like this. It might have been an update. I'm not sure of that. You can't quote me on that. Someone might know better. Like exactly was listening, he'd probably know. But yeah, that's a good point, though. I don't know why they're doing that, and it's going a little extreme in my opinion. But I have heard stories on Reddit of people saying how they have been disfellowshipped for having a Christmas tree in their house. The elders would snoop by and see one, you know. And this poor girl, or this woman, I feel really bad for her. She just seems like she's had a hard life, and the elders are picking on her for it. And that reaches my heart, and it angers me a lot, because I know what it's like to just be bullied by guys that they're almost like this one elder I know, Jeff Giddy. He's just like, well, why can't you do it? I can do it. And it's just like, not everybody's meant to be a cult member.
Hey, Eric, this is Rick at the Six Greens. Eric,
how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, very good job. Very good job. You're doing a good job. We're gonna move on now. We got Linda in the bullpen here, so she's gonna be coming on with her program.
All righty. Well, if I can just conclude with a couple words, and
yeah, go ahead.
I'm just gonna say thank you to everybody calling in tonight, all my friends, and we're all a big family here. And to the person that called in with the 5 disfellowshipping issue, give her as much love and support as you can, is my advice, and know that she has love and support here too if she ever wants to talk about her problems. And there's no judgment here, and we don't come down hard against people's religious beliefs, but we do call them out at times. And I thank everybody for calling tonight. A lot of good material, I think. A lot of good comments, at least. Maybe not on my part, but thanks for all you guys letting me rant and talking about how greedy Watchtower has been. And yeah, I'll let Linda take it over. And thank you, Rick, for having me on. You all have a great night.
Thank you, Eric. All righty. Well, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. We got Linda coming up next. Thank you very much.
Peace, everyone.
Hang in there. We've got Linda James, your favorite apostator, Pasta Babe, coming up here next, right here on the Six Screens. So let's end this program.